Hey everyone, ready to dive into a topic that's close to a lot of hearts? We're talking New York style pizza today.
A classic.
No doubt. I'm thinking most of you listening are either big foodies, maybe planning a trip to NYC, or just, fascinated by what makes this pizza style so iconic.
It is fascinating.
So to get into it, we've got excerpts from Wikipedia and some insights from a specialty food website, like really trying to get different angles here.
Sounds good.
Goal is to understand the whole thing, not just what it is, but the history, those quirks, all that.
Totally. Like what makes it so distinct and delicious, of course.
Right. It's more than just pizza, So where even do you begin with a story like this?
Well, every good story has a start. For New York style pizza, that's 1905, Little Italy. Gennaro Lombardi, he's an Italian immigrant, opens a grocery store, Lombardi's. Yeah, and 8 years later, bam, it becomes the first officially licensed pizzeria in the U.S.
So that's like pizza ground zero then.
Yeah.
It's wild.
It is. And then there's Antonio Perot. He worked at Lombardi's.
Okay.
Back then, a whole pie was 5 cents. 5 cents.
Wow.
But lots of people couldn't even afford that, so Titono would sell them, like partial slices, whatever they could manage.
Really?
Wrapped in paper, tied with string, like the OG slice on the go.
Wow. I can picture that. Did Titono ever imagine, the pizza empire that would come from that?
He was a key part of it, for sure. 1924, he leaves Lombardi's, opens his own place on Coney Island, the now famous Titono's.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that one.
His legacy, along with places like Patsy's, John's, they helped make New York-style pizza like a cultural thing.
More than just food at that point.
Exactly. You can't separate it from the Italian immigrants coming to New York City. Their traditions adapting to a new place.
That mix of Italian in New York kind of defines the city too, right?
Absolutely. It's history, migration, that New York hustle.
More than just a pizza, that's for sure. Okay, so amazing story, but gotta ask, what are we picturing with a classic New York slice?
Big. 18 to 24 inches across. Thin crust, crispy on the edges, but, still bendable.
Foldable, yeah.
And it's made to be eaten on the move, folded in half.
Just like John Travolta walking down the street in Saturday Night Fever.
Exactly. That's it, that casual, eat-anywhere vibe. But there's a reason that crust is so unique, and it's not just the shape.
Oh, I'm all ears.
The key is high gluten bread flour. More protein creates more gluten. Gluten's what gives the dough that stretch, that chewiness.
Makes sense. So that's the science behind it. There's another secret, right? Something I wouldn't expect.
You got it. Many pizziolos, pizza makers, fancy term, believe New York City water is crucial for the crust.
The water. Seriously, what's so special about it?
Minerals, or the lack of them. New York water's soft, low in things like calcium, magnesium.
Okay.
So the gluten develops better, crispier crust. Some pizzerias outside New York, they even import the water.
Wow, that's dedication. Shows that the smallest things can make a difference.
For sure. It's technique, ingredients, even the environment all working together.
All right, got the crust down. What about toppings? What makes it New York style up top?
Simplicity is key here. Let those good ingredients speak for themselves. Thin layer of tomato sauce, often uncooked, sweet tomatoes coming through.
Makes sense.
Then, dry, grated mozzarella, lots of it, melts into that gooey, tanky goodness.
Can't forget those iconic condiments either.
Exactly. Dried oregano, chili flakes, garlic powder, all adding that extra something.
It's funny how simple stuff like that makes such a big difference.
It really does. But, this New York pizza, it hasn't stayed put. It's spread everywhere, even internationally.
Right. But isn't there debate on what's truly New York style outside the city? Wouldn't pizza in, say, California be different by default?
Great question. It's a whole discussion about authenticity and regional stuff. We'll get into that, but first. So yeah, New York style pizza, it's all over.
But how do those places claiming to be New York style outside the city, how do they compare?
Some, they go all out for authenticity. Like we talked about the water, some places ship it in for the dough. They're strict about the flour, the methods, even the ovens.
Wow, so they really try to nail it. I guess in those cases, you might actually get something pretty close to the real deal.
Yeah, you might. But others, they take a looser approach, let's say.
You mean like those pizzas that are kind of rectangular but not really? thin crust, but it's just not the same. I've definitely seen those.
Yeah, exactly. It's like they got the idea, but then they adapted to local tastes or, what ingredients they can get. Maybe the cheese is different or the sauce is sweeter.
So it's like a mix of styles that New York DNA is there, but it's evolved.
Right, a culinary evolution, a fusion. And that happens with lots of foods as they travel, like tacos. Authentic Mexican tacos are amazing, but then you've got Korean tacos, fusion tacos. They're all good, just in different ways.
That's true. I've had some great tacos that are nothing like what you'd find in Mexico, but they're still amazing. It's cool how food can bring different cultures together and change.
Absolutely. And it shows how there isn't always just one right way to make a dish. There's room for interpretation, different regional styles, personal preferences.
Speaking of regional variations, any offshoots of New York-style pizza worth talking about? Any that have kind of taken on a life of their own?
A few, yeah. One that comes to mind is New Haven style.
Yeah.
New Haven, Connecticut. It's close to New York City. Their pizza has a lot in common with New York style. Thin crust, cooked in a coal-fired oven, all that.
But there's got to be something that sets it apart, or otherwise it's just New York-style pizza in Connecticut.
Right. The main thing is that New Haven pizza often features a white clam pie. It's simple, but delicious. Olive oil, garlic, oregano, grated pecorino romano cheese, and fresh clams.
That sounds incredible. It's interesting how even in a small area you can have these different pizza styles. Shows how creative and passionate people are about pizza.
Definitely. And speaking of passion, remember the Ray's Pizza thing in New York City? It's a fun example of how food gets so tied to a city's identity that it, takes on a life of its own.
Remind me about the Ray's Pizza thing. Something about lots of places with the same name.
Yeah, exactly. You'll find a ton of pizzerias all over New York City with names like Ray's Pizza, Famous Ray's Pizza, Original Ray's Pizza, and so on. And most of them are totally separate businesses, no connection to each other.
So it's not like a chain or anything?
Nope. It's more like a weird coincidence that's become part of New York pizza lore. Some think it started with a guy named Ralph Cuomo who opened a Ray's Pizza back in the 50s, and then others just copied the name, maybe hoping to, ride the coattails of the Ray's brand.
That's crazy. So you could walk into a Ray's Pizza expecting one thing, and it could be totally different.
Exactly. It's a gamble, but it's also part of what makes New York pizza so unique and charming.
It's a good reminder that even with a specific style like New York-style pizza, there's still room for individuality, for surprises.
You got it. It's a pizza landscape that's always changing, just like the city itself.
Okay, so we've covered a lot. The origins of New York-style pizza, what makes it special, how it spread, the variations, even the Ray's Pizza thing. Anything else we should touch on before we finish up this deep dive?
I think it'd be interesting to look at the bigger cultural impact of this pizza style. How did it become a symbol of New York? Why is it so popular, even after all these years? Yeah, it's worth thinking about.
Okay, so cultural impact of New York-style pizza. What did you have in mind there?
Well, picture New York City in your head. What do you see? Empire State Building, Times Square, those yellow cabs. And often, right there with them, is a New York pizza slice.
It's true. It's like a visual icon for the city. But why pizza? Why has it become such a big symbol?
A few reasons, I think. First, the history. Like we said, it was born there, brought by Italian immigrants, adapted to New York's unique everything. That history gives it a sense of authenticity. It's connected to the city's roots.
Like a culinary time capsule, almost.
Exactly. And then there's the fact that it's so accessible. New York pizza is like the ultimate street food. Eat it on the go, it's affordable, you can find it everywhere. It's a food for everyone, rich or poor, locals or tourists.
Everyone loves pizza.
Right. And it tastes good. That crispy crust, the tangy sauce, the gooey cheese, it's a combination that just works.
Simple but so good. It's like comfort food with a New York attitude.
Yeah.
Do you think, though, could this style of pizza have come from anywhere else? Or was there something about New York City that made it possible?
Tough question.
Yeah.
Food historians could probably argue about that forever. I think the ingredients and techniques, they existed other places, but New York was the right place at the right time,
In what way?
Think about it. Those Italian immigrants with their pizza-making know-how, the high-gluten flour that made that thin, foldable crust possible, even the city's water, it all played a part.
So you're saying it was a combination of things, culture, the practical stuff, even the environment, that made New York the perfect place for this style of pizza to, be born.
Yeah. Exactly. It's like all the right pieces came together.
Makes you appreciate it even more. So to wrap up our deep dive here, what's the one thing you hope listeners take away?
I hope they see that there's a lot more to a pizza slice than meets the eye. Food can be a way to understand history, culture, even geography. And it can connect us to a place, to other people, to a shared experience.
Well said. And for anyone listening who hasn't tried a real New York slice, I highly recommend it. It's more than just food, it's an experience.
For sure. The next time you fold that perfect New York slice and take a bite, think about what you're tasting. A piece of history, a bit of culture, a testament to the people who created it.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And that wraps up our deep dive into the world of New York-style pizza. Thanks for joining us, everyone.